Hello, hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you guys doing? Well, I hope. Well, I hope. And it's a hot day. It is a hot day. So I hope everybody is having a great day nonetheless. It's Monday. It doesn't have to be a bad Monday, so hopefully everyone is well. We are going to get started soon. Bear with me if you hear me eating. It's one of them things where we may have to just place it in the it is what it is bucket, you know, so to say. Just a wee bit. But never mind none of that. Never the mind with none of that. Like I said, hopefully you all are doing well. This is Webisode 4 of our The Plight of series, which is coming to an end. We're going to have one more webisode after today, after this one we do anyway. And hopefully you guys have been able to get something out of this series that we are in, even if not from every webisode, because it's just not a realistic thought process to think, even if that is the hope and the thoughts and the wish that everyone will be able to get something out of every single one of our webisodes. But if so, that would be nice, even if you only get something out of one or two of them. You know? You know. Hey, Riaz, good afternoon. Or maybe good evening or good morning. I forget. Is your time ahead of mine or is it behind? I forget. But good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you doing? Well, I hope. Well, I hope. Yes, have you ever heard the saying or the phrase tail tucking before? But like in reference to people and human beings, not to dogs. You ever heard somebody say that somebody else tucked their tail? Or no? Or no? You let me know. Either way, we're about to get into it. Either way, I had a mean little headache this morning, but luckily after I ate it, took some Tylenol, I was straight. Cause boy, that was a mean one. That it was. So I put on some background music, something smooth. You know, you can hear the contractors earning their keep. That's all right. Grass has to get cut. Maybe. Let's see. Hey P, you said pretty V. You back at it again with the back at it again. I was happy I was able to be consistent with that. So I was saying this morning, no promises, but it's already been about 6 days between webisode 4 and webisode 3 of our series. So I don't want to get too behind. Really don't want to be behind at all. But 6 days is a nice little gap in between webisodes, even though I set the rules for that. You won't catch me on this bullshit on my day. Right. And luckily you just Never mind. But yes, I don't think I would see. I don't think so. Not really. And speaking of that, hopefully the baby had a good day. Hopefully the baby had a good day. Hey V, what's good? I'm on break eating some fire Popeyes chicken. Listen, that's how you know we, you know what I'm saying, cooler than the other side of the pillow. Cause I tore some Popeyes up the other day. I tore some Popeyes up the other day. There you go. Good. Shoot. I had me sweet potato. I've been on a sweet potato kick. They had me sweet potato with some brisket inside of it and some macaroni and cheese. But I've been on a sweet potato cake. Me and sweet potatoes go together real bad. Hold on. Every time I see him with that daggone nickname for you, I gotta search back in my memory bank to remember why he gave you that nickname. Well, that's good, girl. You're gonna be eating good on your break. Shoot. All right. And I got the chicken and mac and cheese and the fries. Listen, the only thing I will say is their biscuits are not it. Their biscuits are not it for Popeyes. At least my last few experiences, I can do without dry behind biscuit. Have y'all ever heard the saying, or have you ever heard anybody say that whether it be you, um, or somebody else tucked their tail, or they were tucking their tail? Have you guys ever heard that before? So that's what we're going to be discussing for Webisode 4 of our Plight of series, Tail Tuckers. Folks who tuck their tail. And then also what comes with that is, hold on, please hold. Back on internet. We always have the same issue. Not the beast thing. The fruit. All right, P, you gotta chill, son. You gotta chill, son. So yeah, that's what we're gonna get into. That's what I wanted to make episode 4 about because I can. Ha ha ha. All right, yeah. So what also comes with tucking your tail? I think we're gonna go over the definition for what a shameful person is, as well as what a disgraceful person is. You know what I mean? I'm over here dying from laughing. Got coworkers looking like, what in the world? What you got in that bag? Okay, so I already read the definition for what does it mean to tuck your tail. Okay, and then we have other meanings. Backing down, meaning quit in a fight or argument because you are scared or because you know you will lose, right? And it's one thing to quote unquote back down from something because you just know you don't want to waste your energy. It's not worth your time. You may feel like you're not like there's no reason, but it sounds totally different to tuck your tail because you're scared. And when I say tuck your tail, I don't mean in the physical sense because I'm a strong believer that if you are put in a situation and it's a dangerous situation where you could possibly be harmed or forced to have to cause harm to somebody else, if you're able to remove yourself safely from that situation, I'm all for it. I'm talking about in the verbal sense, I'm talking about just in general, about anything. You know what I mean? And when it comes to the YouTube sense, like I said, unless it's for one of them other reasons, who's going to do something to you on here? Like physically, actually, number one. And number two, especially if it's something that you feel strongly about, you know what I mean? You don't just tuck your tail and go and run and hide because you're scared or because you feel like, you know, you're going to lose this argument or this quote unquote fight. So let me just go and run. Those are not legit reasons, in my opinion. And most times when one does that, it's not a good feeling for them. It's definitely not a good look. And for some, which I've seen it happen, they'll tuck tail, go run and hide or whatever. And then at a later date, they come out the woodwork, either ready to get some type of get back or they'll just magically pop up out the woodwork as if nothing ever happens, if that makes sense. Hold on. And we have feeling ashamed, leaving a place in disgrace or embarrassment after a failure. After something didn't go as planned or didn't go your way, or you just completely failed in general, you just abort mission and you go and tuck tail and you hide. You know what I mean? You completely hide. And then the last one, it says common phrases, often used as tuck your tail and run or going away with your tail between your legs, which I don't know if you guys ever heard that before. Somebody was left to leave with their tail between their legs. Like, and it's like, it's not nice to call someone a coward, but sometimes it just really fits. It just really fits. Let me see if you guys said anything. Let me see. Oh, this is a series that you started. Yeah, girl. This is the webisode 4. Each series I do is 5 webisodes. So this is the Plight of series. Let me see. Webisode 1 was the plight of passive aggressive woman. Let me see, because I don't want to lie to y'all. Please hold. But I know webisode 1 was that. Let me see. And then the last series that we did before this one was our what kind of man? What kind of man? So let's see. Episode 1 was the plight of passive aggressive women. Episode 2 was the plight of Mad Day. Episode 3 was the plight of an egotistical man. And today we're discussing the plight of a tail tucker. The plight of a tail tucker. Yes, ma'am. Your girls say I'm too violent. Well, you know what I say anytime you say anything like that. If she says it, it's got it most times it's true in regards to you. Bars. I don't like talking to these. Yeah, so that wouldn't be you tucking your tail. You just know it's no point. But at the same time, you have the ability to kind what does it say? To hold your ground, to stand your ground, so to say, if need be. And that's completely different than somebody who, for lack of better words, is just a straight up coward, you know? Hold on. Let's see. I feel you, I don't either. Exactly. Listen, and don't do it a third time. The fudge. What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Listen, and sometimes that is the issue with the things that people decide they want to open up their mouth and say on here. Well, folks can't allow that to have them become a crash out in that way. You know, you don't want to allow for what people choose to open up their mouth or release from their fingertips on here in regards to you, allow you to become a crash out in real life over some YouTube mess. I ate one piece of chicken and got full egg, and that sound like something for later. I don't know what be going on here anymore. Listen, I don't really pay it too much mind. Not as much as I used to. I really don't. Not as much as I used to. Because it's pointless as far as certain sectors. I've been enjoying just straight up moving around, to be honest. To be straight up honest. Now, nope, I'll leave that alone. Let's keep the main thing the main thing. Let's keep the main thing the main thing. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep the main thing the main thing. All right, so we went over a couple of the other meanings. We went over a couple of the common phrases. And just for the hoot of it, it gives us physical and fitness meaning for the words tucking your tail or tail tucking. Now for animals, which we already went over this, but so what? It says for animals, when they tuck their tail, like for dogs, that means that there's fear, like they have some type of fear, or that's them submitting, like that's a form of submission for them, whether it be for their quote unquote owner or their human, or if it's a couple of dogs, they may be, submitting to the alpha or to their parents. And then for horses, which I didn't even know that, if a horse kind of tucks their tail, that means there may be some type of muscle tension for that horse. And then on the exercise and Pilates tip, it just simply means tilting your pelvis down and under to support your lower back and to use your core. Okay. And then, like I said, I also wanted to get into the definitions for what a shameful person is and what a disgraceful person is. I didn't even wind up putting the music on, but that's okay. I feel like these birds either work in shifts, and it's kind of growing on me, keep it a bean. They either work in shifts or they just be living their best life throughout their day. Because they do their thing in the morning, and here we are in the afternoon, and shoot, even certain parts of the evening. Do they sleep or what? Anywho, it says a shameful person is someone who acts in a way that is deeply bad, dishonest, or morally wrong. When people call a person shameful, they mean that that person does things that deserve blame and should make them feel embarrassed or guilty. Shame is not really a thing anymore. It seems to be a thing of the past. And then, depending on the type of people you're dealing with, they invoke shame in moments where grace should be given. And then they give grace in moments where some shame should be given. It's quite backwards. And for some things, there really does need to be shame. So therefore, you can know that that's not the thing to do. You should feel uncomfortable. You should feel a wee bit embarrassed, a wee bit off put, because otherwise, you will be floating around, acting and behaving in certain ways, whether you're a child or an adult, a man or a woman, that you just simply shouldn't be behaving in, and it's counterproductive. But that seems to be a thing of the past. And it seems to be really backwards, in my opinion. So it says, key traits of a shameful person. And one of the reasons why I want to discuss this while we are in the middle of are the plight of, hold on, Dagnabbit, lost my train of thought. The plight of the tail tucker is because this is something when somebody does feel shame, right? If they have the ability to feel shame, because not everybody has that ability, because they are just completely, they're not self-aware. And then they also don't take heed to certain criticisms that they receive from their masses or their peers. But yeah, most times when someone is feeling any type of shame, they will go and tuck their tail and then get themselves together, and they either come back, anew or better, or they either don't come back at all, or they come back the same. So anyway, it says key traits of a shameful person: dishonest, lies, cheats, or tricks others on purpose. Okay. They are cruel, treats other people badly, or hurts them without care. And then lastly, without honor, does things that bring disgrace or a bad name to themselves and their family. Okay. Or if you are part of a group and you do or a team and you do something that even though you're the one that did it, it may just be a bad look for the whole team. You know what I mean? It may be a bad look for the whole group. I seen a replay where somebody told their friend that they were bad for their brand because of certain behaviors they were exhibiting. And because everybody that was a part of they thing witnessed this, And they also witnessed a type of favor, so to say, that that person would give to them to the point where they had to tell you, like, yo, you're bad for my brand, son. You got to really tighten up if you're going to even be around. So I dig that. Without honor, does something that brings disgrace or a bad name to themselves and their family. And we just went over the key traits of a shameful person. Then it says common examples, someone who steals from a friend or neighbor. That's some shameful-ish. Someone who treats others with hate and meanness. That's some shameful-ish, especially when it's not warranted. A person who hurts people weaker than them and does not feel sorry for it. That's most definitely um, some shameful-ish because that's an easy picking for you. That's easy picking for you. You want to hurt people who you feel like are inferior to you. What do you get out of that? If you are the type of person who operates in that way. Let me see if y'all said anything, and then we're going to go over what a disgraceful person is. And I feel like these all tie into someone who tucks their tail. Because most people who behave in ways that one would be proud about, they don't tuck their tail. Except for ones who lack the ability to know that them same behaviors that they feel like they're proud about are really just garbage behaviors. But you have to have the ability to identify that, as well as have good, solid people around you who are not afraid to call you out on your shit. Okay, because we all have our own shit with us, but we all have solid people around us. Some people not so much. And that's unfortunate for them. Hold on. Let's see. I've been shopping like crazy. Girl. Oh, and I know you got so many ideas as far as content. I'm with it. I'm with it. I said I'm with it if you with it. Let them, honey. Let them. Let them talk. Talking today. Talk their little heart out. Let them talk their little heart out. Hey, Flying Lum. Good afternoon. How are you doing? Well, I hope. Yeah. And unfortunately, I've learned that that's best to a certain extent. Because otherwise, forget about it. But I've also been moving around, so I've also been moving around. Oh, I love their are you still talking about Popeyes? You get the mac. Yeah, I like they macaroni and cheese. It's just some biscuits I can do without. I can most definitely do without their biscuits. Oh, biscuits is definitely lackluster to me. Okay, hold up. Please hold. Fine said, "Oh no, I need the biscuit before the mac." Nah, not from Popeyes. Like when I say underwhelming, I mean underwhelming, and I'm just like, it'd be different if it was just like a one-off. Like okay, maybe they were just, it was an off day for them. They wasn't on a game. What you do? This has become a pattern. And don't give me no big behind breasts either. Give me the wings, the thighs, the drums. I don't ever go for the breasts. I'm good off that. I'll take Harold's any day for chicken. I don't think I ever been there before. Yeah, I don't know if it was just the one I went to or what, but them biscuits was not given. And I keep that in mind and tell them, like, yo, can you substitute the biscuit for something else? Because, nah, nah, I'm not taking it. All right, let's continue. All right, so we already went over the definition of a disgraceful person. Y'all know the dealio, do your own research. We went over three of the key meanings, excuse me. And then we're going to do common words like this. All right, obviously we already went over shameful, but shameful, doing things that cause deep embarrassment or guilt, dishonorable, lacking honor, honesty, or basic decency. There's so many people, both on this app and off this app, that just lack basic decency. And that's regardless if you know the person, regardless if you have a strong rapport with the person, regardless if you just see them in passing, regardless of none of that, other than the fact that you're a human being and they are a human being. People lack basic decency. But most times, we like to receive that basic decency from other people, regardless if they know them, if they have a strong rapport, and regardless of the fact that they have the ability to check and deal with somebody who doesn't want to give them that basic level of decency, you know? And just like you have people who have this notion that, and I've spoken this before, that respect as a grown individual, really just as any human being, because we also talked about how you have people who don't understand the concept that even though a child is a child, there still needs to be a certain level of respect there, and they still have a right to be treated a certain way, even though they are a child. But anywho, most people who lack the ability to have basic decency, they also have the thought process, for whatever reason, right or wrong, that respect is earned and not given. And I would say respect is not earned and not given. Respect is a given. Now, if somebody does something to make you lose respect for them or have a lower respect level for them, that's a different conversation. But just from the rip off the gate, no, respect is not something that should be earned. It should be a given. No, it's not something that should be earned, excuse me. And no, it's not something that should be given. It should be a given as a grown individual by somebody else, especially somebody else who you have not done nothing to. And most times, people who have that thought process are disgraceful people. And most times are the same people who would like to be given a certain level of respect, even if they haven't, quote unquote, earned it. Because you can think you earned a, quote unquote, level of respect. You can think that, but it doesn't mean that the people or the person that you require this certain level of respect from agrees with that, you know? And because I'm in the mood to say people's names, like when you have a Lou, he is one of those people that came out his mouth in regards to me and said, oh, respect is not given, respect is earned. But yet he is also the same type of person that thinks because he was in the military, even though it was only for a little whoop-de-doo, that other people should give him that full respect as a veteran. And although I don't see an issue with doing that, because if you serve, you're served, You have some people that might feel like you served for a hot, quick second to be going around toting that veteran badge, as opposed to our veterans who actually was like in the thick of it for years, away from their family and their kids for years, and so on and so forth. But if you're gonna call a spade, and keep it a being a being. If you served, you served. And if you served and you no longer serve anymore, yes, that would make you a veteran. And Lou is the type of man that would go panel to panel crying about somebody not giving him a certain type of respect, but didn't have no issue shelling out disrespect, you know? So let's see. And the last one is despicable. Very bad and deserving to be hated or strongly disliked. Someone who is despicable, they are a very bad person, and they deserve to be hated or strongly disliked. And that's just common words for what a disgraceful person is. And that goes back to the title, which is the plight of a tail tucker. And somebody who fits the bill, who matches the description of the type of people we just discussed, are most people who do tuck their tails and run, or tuck their tails and hide until they feel like the coast is clear. They don't stand on nothing. They don't stand for too much of anything because they're in the wrong. Let me see. I just think their mac and cheese is too basic. Yeah, you definitely got to doctor it up a bit, a wee bit. But their biscuits is just like, there's no bringing that back to life. It's not really a thing. You said dark meat only. I dig it. I definitely don't like breast. I don't like chicken breast. And then they wings just be so little. So give me the thigh. Give me them thighs and drums. Give me them thighs and drums. I just like the chicken and mac and cheese and the fries. Yeah. Shoot, I'll take some Checkers cheese fries. I don't even need the chili, but I like Checkers cheese fries. I've never been to Raleigh's, but I know that they're connected. They're one. Harold's is in Illinois. Okay, cool beans. Like 2 hours. You said I agree, V. Yeah. Oh, P, yeah, no, you're a long way. That's okay. Yeah, I dig it. I dig that piece. I don't really deal with too many people either. I go to it's only not even a half a handful of ones I go. And now that the sniper done did his last shebang, he'll be doing little pop outs. But other than that, no. So y'all know where I will mainly be. So that is something that should definitely make somebody feel shamed to be a grown behind man, supposed to be a troll, to be a grown behind troll, and to get on another grown behind man's panel and cry about being blocked by a whole other man who wasn't nowhere near in that chat as a result of being hyper focused on a woman as a male troll in the beef sector. That is some shameful shit. That is some shit that should cause one to tuck their tail. But when you don't have no shame, you know, you double down on it. There's a lot of double down weirdos. Hold on. Because once again, That's what happens when you deal with weirdos who lack the ability to understand that there is no humbling of somebody who don't give a damn about you. And that's another weirdo who put their time into doing little random weird behind posts. But bless them, for they know not. So let's see. Just a hater, Shakira, for no reason either. A hater for no reason. That mac and cheese is fire. Yeah. And it don't taste bad heated up either. That matters too. Respect is a given. I like that phrase. Yeah, flying low. Like we all grown adults out here. I'm not dealing with nobody that's talk about you gotta earn my respect. You got me fucked up. It's like you got the people with the stupid ass mentality of what have you done in this sector? What have you given for this sector? Like shut up, because this sector is trash and it shouldn't even be a sector. So what you mean, what have you done? We live in a what have you done for me lately type of world. I wish I would go out my way to break my back to do the most in order to fit somebody's criteria. Nah, I'm a grown ass woman. That's all the criteria there is. I'm a grown ass woman that ain't did you nothing. That's all the criteria there is. There is no respect is earned. No, respect is not earned, and no, it is not a given. I mean, no, it is not given to you. It is a given until somebody does something to fudge that up. Same with trust to a certain extent. You know what I mean? People are ass backwards, and those are the ones I like to keep far away from me. Be sure with the truth. Yeah, just like that was some weird stuff. Like when I tell you, for that one particular, his behaviors have been very surprising. Like, oh, you are a whole different type of weirdo, and it's so unfortunate. But have at it with your weird ass. Very disappointing, to say the least. So I'm like, damn, son. You said this is a KB sector, though. Exactly. Why someone is sit here in front like it is not. Anybody trying to hear that, oh, I got my own sector because people that are a part of it um, have their own channels. But mind you, this comes from the same person who had the nerve to say, oh, once I found out that they don't do any content and it's not beef stuff, I said, why should I care? I don't care about it. You don't even talk about beef stuff. Right. But then you have little blessings that fall in line and follow under the same person who said if you ain't talking about beef, they don't care what you got going on. Like, no, I don't care how anybody wants to flip and dip it. You part of that sector, especially when a good majority of your content, never mind what you have the ability to do, the type of content that you have the ability to do. What are you doing currently? What have you been doing? Okay? And if most of the things and the people you discuss fall under that same person, and you came from under that person, or from under somebody that was under that person, it just is what it is. Especially when you're currently still talking about that person and they people. Duh. But okay. You said I had my own sector, Shakira sector. Right, and I got my own cool beans sector. Fuck them. People just burnt out and they have a crazy false sense of importance. And it really doesn't help when you have a bunch of do boys and girls sitting up under you, affirming that while not calling you out when you need to be called out. So unfortunate. But whatever. So I think that's all I have for you guys as far as and in regards to tail tucking or someone who tucks their tail. KB created the beef in this sector, then it was spin-offs of other people. Exactly. And like I spoke on before, it's all under the same umbrella, just different pockets. You know what I mean? Just different pockets. Hold on. And I've been seeing a lot of full circle moments happening too. And you can polish a turd, but it's still a piece of shit. So I wouldn't care what you are talented in, what you have taught yourself, what you learned, what you have the ability to do. If you have shelled out all type of disgusting, disgraceful, shameful shit on this app, I don't give a damn what type of talent you think you lie, what type of future you think you have, what you think you're capable of doing. If you have to shout out a bunch of disgusting, counterproductive bullshit on this app at other people's expense with no regards as to how it would affect them at all, and you don't do shit to make it right, I don't give a. You still ain't shit to me. You might be the shit, you know, to your little blind flying monkeys, but you will never be shit to somebody like me. And I don't have a problem saying that. All these dudes got gossip channels raving like females. Right. And very rarely do they have the ability to sit with each other on the panel and have real life conversations in a constructive way because they're childish. And like I said before, even if you're the type that does do that once in a blue moon when you're feeling froggy, if you ain't shit, you ain't shit. And if your folks won't let you know, or if you lack the self awareness to know that, I'm here to let you know. A polished turd will forever be a piece of shit. Okay? But anyway, that wraps up Webisode 4 of our The Plight of series. We discussed tail tuckers. And I'm not sure what I want to do. Sorry for the noise. I'm not sure what I want to do for Webisode 5, but we will cross that bridge when we get there. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day. I might come back later if I want to, because I can. Bye.